Part 4 of 3.2 liter VR6 swapping my MK4 GTi. So we got everything that we need right here, including the transmission. Let me give you guys a quick little recap from the last video. So we completely stripped the 2.8 liter and all of those parts are now here. We got the AC compressor, the alternator, the power steering pump, we got the crank pulley already installed, and we got the water pump pulley installed. We got the belt tensioner installed, and we got the motor mount bracket installed. And like I told you guys, I highly recommend that you guys get the engines that already come with the tapped holes so you can install this easily. It just takes 3 bolts, but if you want to drill holes and tap them yourself, feel free to do them. You can easily find the measurements online. We also got the accessory bracket installed. Now there was one thing that I didn't correct. So I was using the Touareg engine bolts and I noticed that some of them were too long so they wouldn't tighten all the way. So keep that in mind, guys. Whenever you swap your 2.8 liter accessory bracket, make sure to grab the bolts from your 2.8 liter. But if you don't have a choice, I guess you could use the same bolts, just add a bunch of washers to the ones that are too long. I think there was 2 of them that were too long, maybe 3. On the Touaregs, this actually comes plugged up, but I grabbed the hose from the 2.8 liter. And then we got the oil cooler and the oil filter housing right here. And this is what's great about this swap, guys. You get to keep the same engine harness because all the parts are going to be the same, all the connections are going to be the same. You're literally surrounding this engine with all 2.8 liter parts, so everything will be completely compatible. We also got the crack pipe right here that we will be installing. We got the thermostat housing right here, and we got the transmission. And the automatic flywheel is only here because, as you can see, I put a bolt right there, and that was to pop off the crank pulley, or actually it was to tighten the crank pulley on. As for the transmission, I suggest that you guys get a new slave cylinder / throwout bearing. I'm actually waiting for mine to get here, but the goal for today is to just install everything, including the flywheel, clutch, and pressure plate. And then I'll probably pop this off, so once it gets here, I can throw it on and slap the transmission in. Then we can move on to throwing the engine into the car. Also, I'm pretty sure I mentioned everything, but you also gotta swap this over from the 2.8 liter. And when you come around to the back of the engine, I also swapped over this little sensor. I noticed the hole was already tapped, but there was no sensor in there. So I grabbed this sensor from the 2.8 liter and I threw it on here. And alright guys, everything is officially installed, even the serpentine belt. It's crazy, it's kind of looking like my 2.8 liter now. We got the serpentine belt installed, we got all the accessories installed. Now let me turn the engine. We got the crack pipe installed. And then for extra precaution, I put silicone around the inlets, then I stuck in the hoses. I basically did that to every hose that disconnected. And it's not the end of the world. If something leaks, I can easily replace it without taking out the whole engine again. But yeah guys, check this out. Every single thing is on. Thermostat housing's on. Now the only thing left to do is gonna be the valve cover. I just need to put the new gasket with some silicone, of course. After I do that, I can go ahead and pop off this flywheel, and I can throw on my flywheel with my clutch and my pressure plate. So let's get started on the valve cover. Quick little reminder, guys, this is the 2.8 liter valve cover. And we got a 2.8 liter valve cover gasket, and we'll be throwing it onto the 3.2 liter. There's the brand new gasket, guys, and I like to overdo it and throw some silicone on here as well. Alright, and now that the valve cover is installed, it's finally time to install the flywheel. Make sure to stay clean while doing this because you do not want to get any grease on the flywheel. Trust me guys, if you get grease on the flywheel, your clutch will start slipping and you'll blow it quick. So make sure to clean the area, clean your tools, clean your hands, then throw on the flywheel. After it's all bolted on and torque spec'd on, make sure to hit it with some brake cleaner. Alright guys, so I got the flywheel on there, and I made sure to torque spec it with some Loctite. Now I'm gonna just grab some brake cleaner and clean it up, wipe it down, then I'll throw on the clutch and the pressure plate. You can go ahead and hit that with some brake cleaner. And you're gonna need a clutch alignment tool, so make sure to get yourself one from Euro Tuning. Alright guys, so I just got done torque specking the pressure plate, and the pressure plate was 15 foot-pounds. And then the flywheel was about 44 foot-pounds. Now we can remove the clutch alignment tool. And as you guys can see, it looks nice and aligned in there. So this feels crazy, guys. The engine is complete. I won't have to mess with it anymore. It has its silicone, it has its Loctite, it has its clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel. Now it's onto the transmission. I just have to take off that slave cylinder. This one has no issues, but I just want to put a new one to make sure it doesn't break down later on down the road. So I ordered an OEM one from Euro Tuning. The brand is called Luke. If you guys are going to do any clutch work, I highly recommend that you guys stick with OEM parts. The OEM clutch, transmission, and flywheel all say Luke on them. And I'm sure this says Luke somewhere as well. But it hasn't arrived just yet, guys. So I had to wait for that. Once that gets here, I'll go ahead and throw it on the transmission. Then I can go ahead and put the transmission on the engine. It only takes about 5 bolts. After that's all installed, I can go ahead and finally throw it in the car. Today is Sunday, so there is no delivery. Hopefully it gets here tomorrow. Thank you guys for sticking around for part 4. Stay tuned for part 5. And I just want to say thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you guys for all of your advice and tips. And like I mentioned before, don't be shy to comment if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to know exactly what you need. I mean, I'm trying to give you guys all the details, but feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll make sure to reply. Just because I want to inspire all Mark IV GTi or Jetta owners to 3.2 liter swap theirs. It's some quick, little, naturally aspirated power. Anyways, it's getting late. That's why I'm talking kind of low. I don't really want to bug the neighbors right now. But I'll see you guys in part 5. And just watch when I start this bad boy. I'll make sure to get some good rollers for you guys. See you guys in part 5.